Hi, and welcome to another edition of Inspired Messages Monday. And it is the beginning of May, and we're celebrating another bank holiday. Last time it was Easter, and here we have another bank holiday. I love May. It's my birthday month, so it's my favourite month really, because everything is coming up. I love the flowers, and I love the lighter nights. I'm sure you do too. Now, there's a lot been going on, and I don't know whether you're watching mainstream media, which is not really telling the truth, or you're doing your own research. I always kind of mention this. I do put links if you take my newsletter for you to look at. If you can't find them, then they're in my newsletter. And I always say, if you take the newsletter, please read it because there's lots of really good information in there. And it takes me a long time to put it together. And so just, don't just watch the video, read the information as well, especially under the life purpose heading. So this month we've got a new moon on the 11th of this month, on the 11th of May, and that's going to connect actually to the Strength card. This is the card that I pulled out, the first card that I pulled out, which is the Strength card, and I don't know whether you can see on there, but she's wearing a hat which is like the figure 8, which is the infinity. So this is a very spiritual card, and it actually denotes the divine feminine being very powerful, because she's kind of struggling with the lion, but it's the lion isn't really struggling back. It's recognizing that the divine feminine is really, really important, and I think especially at this time. And so this new moon is going to be in the sign of Taurus, which is, if you know anything about the zodiac, Taurus is very strong. It's an earth sign, and it's represented by the bull. And so obviously the bull is very strong and will not be moved. So I feel this is important at the moment. It's like, we need to stand in our truth. We need to stand firm, like the Strength card is saying, and like the bull does. So this new moon is going to give us a 28 day cycle, where you're going to be planning your goals for the next 28 days. And obviously Taurus, and this card as well, is about determination, and it's about courage, and the courage to carry on what's been started. And actually Taurus is about money. It's also about security and protection, possessions, and also land and farming and all that kind of thing. So we might see big changes in any or all of those subjects that I've mentioned. I feel like with this card something is brewing, and a new moon is always a new beginning, and so be on the alert, be aware. Don't kind of go with everything that you see and hear. Do your own research. So on the 13th and the 14th of May, we're going to have Jupiter moving into the sign of Pisces. Now, it's very happy in Pisces, actually, and so this is going to bring compassion and understanding, hopefully. It does rule fluids and oil and gas and water. And Jupiter, one thing that Jupiter does is expand everything. So we're kind of hoping that there won't be anything catastrophic, but I've heard and I've seen and I've kind of looked certain things, and there is signs of flooding, and this might be massive flooding, and maybe that's where the Earth takes charge and decides that, you know, it's we're not treating the Earth very well, and so it's going to you know, bring us down to Earth with a bump. Now this may happen. I mean, actually, Jupiter's in Pisces just for 2 months. It's going to be moving out of there mid-July, and then it will move back because of retrograde, which means it's going backwards. It will go back into the sign of Aquarius, and it will be there till for the rest of the year. So it may be that what I'm saying, there'll be a rumble of it, but the main time that it will happen may be early next year or beyond, due to the fact that it will then go back into Pisces at the end of the year. So you know, we need to be aware of that. And then we're going to have Saturn is going to go retrograde, and that will be on May the 23rd. So Saturn, as you know, was in the sign of Capricorn. It was in its own sign. It's now in Aquarius, and it represents governments and corporations, and you know, like the World Health Organization and the, you know, all the big organizations that seem to be running the world. And so this might be, you know, things are being revisited, you know, what's being looked at, because when things go retrograde, the things that, you know, it's like it's a bit on standstill, and it's like it's looking again, and we know that things aren't right at the moment, that the governments are failing all over the world, and so this might be something to do with that. And it might be that we are asked to look at the way we're living and we're working, maybe how we're, you know, living our whole life, socializing. Actually, it's in Aquarius. Aquarius wants freedom, and so Saturn, which wants order, might be a bit chaotic, you know, in Aquarius. But that Saturn going retrograde may possibly bring instability, because the two energies don't mix. Saturn wants order, and Aquarius wants the opposite. So we need to watch out for that. And then on May the 26th, we're going to have a full lunar eclipse. And so we're having the full moon and we're having an eclipse at the same time. And this is going to be in the sign of Sagittarius. So this is huge, really. And Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter again. So, you know, that is about expansion and big things. Now, Sagittarius rules the law. And it rules religion as well, and it rules our belief systems. So I'm wondering if our belief systems, or what we believe in, are, you know, those beliefs are changed in some way. And also because Jupiter and Sagittarius is to do with the law, I think there's a lot of people now around the world looking at and investigating and relearning, if you like, common law. So this is God's law, divine law, and it's the law of the land and the law of the people. And so I feel that maybe common law is obviously coming back for people to look at. Because the law that we're being ruled by is actually not serving us. So yeah, I'm thinking that that's what that might be about. Thousands of people are learning a common law at the moment, and that is God's law, divine law, and it's about our God-given rights. And Sagittarius rules law, politics, beliefs, and all of those could be changed in some way. And it's not necessarily on that full moon, it's just bringing it into our consciousness and allowing us to think about things and asking ourselves if we want to live in a different way. Okay, so the lunar eclipse as well actually represents endings, and so what's going to happen, what's going to be new. And actually the Wheel of Fortune came up, and this does often come up, doesn't it, in my readings. And so this obviously years ago represented the zodiac because it's the wheel, but now, you know, it's got these symbols on it, and the monkey is to do with animal instincts, and the hare, you can see the hare on the other side, that's to do with intelligence, and on the top, the figure on the top is to do with spirituality. But it is ultimately to do with evolution and change, and that, you know, life for us goes through changes always, and cycles, and that's what this is about. And we are going through a cycle at the moment, and a big one, a massive one. So I feel like this, you know, represents to a certain extent that lunar eclipse, which represents endings. Okay, so the Fool also came up. Now, the Fool can either be at the beginning of the journey or at the end of the journey, and in some packs you do find him as 0, or you do find him as 22, and this pack actually says 0. But that's because he's on a journey, and we are on a journey. And when you first start out on your journey of life, you don't internalize anything. You don't go and look at the reasons, you know, of who you are and why you do the things you do. And as you get older, you start to go within. So this card also is somebody who dares to be different, who stands out from the crowd, if you like, who is eccentric, who doesn't mind living maybe in a tent in the middle of a forest, for instance. This is somebody who is not like the normal person, he's a nonconformist. And I think this card represents that maybe we need to change again how we are, and that we need to be connected to the land. And maybe that events are out of our control to a certain extent, and so it's about, you know, looking at ways of how we can be living in a different way. And that seems to have been about the whole of my reading. I felt it was very much connected to that, and all the cards are very spiritual. I know the tarot is spiritual anyway, but they do seem to have that spiritual connection. So there's lots of information at the moment, and there's an information war, and you don't know what to believe, and there's lots of censorship. So videos that are being put up are not being up there very long, and people are being censored on YouTube and on Facebook, and people are being put in Facebook jail for saying the simplest of things. But it's going against what the authorities want people to know. So there's a lot of information that isn't, you know, as I say, it's like an information war, and we're not all sure what to believe. It's a lot of misinformation. So both Mercury and Venus are in Gemini, and that's all about information, particularly Mercury belongs in Gemini, so it works very well. It is about information. But on the 29th of May, Mercury is going to go retrograde until June the 22nd, which may bring even more confusion, because when Mercury goes retrograde, we don't always know what's going on, and documents get lost, they get misplaced, they get misconstrued, people don't get the information that you're sending, or there's misinformation when you're talking to somebody. So that's all very Mercury in Gemini, and obviously with it going retrograde, it's going to be in there longer. So now the Pope came up, and the Pope very often comes up, and this is another spiritual card. He has a direct line to heaven, and he has his flock in front of him, and he's a counsellor, you know, so this is somebody who wants to help and wants to give information, and he also represents non-violent communication, and he's very much about the breath, and so teaching, spreading knowledge, and he bridges the gap between spiritual and material worlds, and the spiritual breath is direct from heaven. So, you know, this is a kind of important card at the moment, because what's being said by many people, and I include myself in that, is that you will find the answers from within, and when you go within, you get these direct messages from above. So I think this is quite an important card. If you are looking for answers and you can't find them, the best thing to do is to sit and meditate, and then you will find that you will get the answers. Okay. And finally, we have the High Priestess, and now she is very spiritual as well, and she has a book of wisdom, a book of esoteric secrets, occult secrets in that book. She's got a lot to say. She's about the unconscious, and again, this is a card for meditating, and she goes with this card. They actually go together, and so, you know, we are connecting, or being asked to connect to the higher realms with those two cards. And so she has knowledge and secrets in this book. Maybe things will be revealed, hidden things come to the surface. She understands the higher truths and the occult teachings and wisdom. So I think it's going to be an interesting month. I think it's going to be an interesting 3 months. But I think there will be, you know, if you look for it, there will be things that are coming out for you to understand, but it's about going within really, and getting the answers from above. So that being said, I have the same affirmation, because I think it's really important that we stand in our own truth, we stand in our own power, we stand under God's law, divine law, which I mentioned earlier on. So, hand on heart, I am a sovereign being with a sovereign soul, standing in my own truth of what is right and just. And I'll repeat that. I am a sovereign being with a sovereign soul, standing in my own truth of what is right and just. Now, if you need to speak to me, you know where I am. If you just want to have a quick word, if you're feeling off or down, or, you know, upset or anything, you know where I am. You can contact me via my website, which is astrologysue.com, through the contact page. All my numbers are on there, and I'm there. You know, that's, you know, what I'm doing. I'm helping people every day. I'm helping somebody understand what we're going through at the moment, and how important it is to be centered and to be strong, like the Strength card says, and connect to our divine feminine wisdom, and that it goes for men as well, because we both have yin and yang. We both have the feminine and the masculine, and the feminine energy is really important for us all to tap into, because, and you know, I talked about non-confrontational. You know, it's about doing the work without being angry and without showing aggression. And you know, if you, I don't know whether you know about the march, which was on the 24th of April, but there was up to 1 million people there, and that wasn't reported, by the way. But they were all peaceful, and there was children there, and you know, that's what it's about. You know, men, women, and children saying, "Free, we have the right to be free. We have the right to assemble. We have the right for free speech, and we have the right to breathe the air, and we have the right for body integrity." And all of that is really, really important. So connect with me on Facebook, and you know where I am if you need me. And please, if you take the newsletter, read the bit under life purpose. And I will see you at the beginning of June. So bye for now. Bye bye.